everyone, I'm Renee Jones, and today I'm going to talk about casting because, as many of you know, my series, the Inside Out series, has been optioned and is in development for a TV show, and I'm thrilled and honored that that's with Suzanne Todd from Team Todd, and she's behind Alice in Wonderland, Must Love Dogs, all the Austin Powers movies, and I could go on and on and on. But of course there's a lot of excitement about who will be cast for what. And I watched as this all played out for 50 Shades as well, and how passionate people get about casting. So I thought I'd share just a little bit about what I've learned, which isn't a whole lot, but what I've learned about the process. TVs and movies are very different. Regular TV and cable TV are very different. With cable, typically they write what you would call a Bible, which would be like 8 or 10 episodes, and once that's done and that's complete, they rarely would do a pilot. They just go into production. With regular TV, not non-cable, they do a pilot, so it's a much different process. So you hear about things earlier, you hear about the pilot, is the pilot picked up, that kind of thing. Very different. But mostly today I'm going to talk about casting. So with the 50 Shades, I saw how people went so crazy about, but that's not how this person looks, or that's not how that person looks. That's not, they're not funny, they're not, well, or they are funny, or they're, you know, all these things that they didn't think fit the characters. But there's a lot of things that you have to consider that a lot of people don't think about, and that is, for instance, hair color can be changed, eye color can be changed. Ultimately, if the person has the color of hair that you want them to have, but they're a horrible actor and they don't bring that character to life, how disappointed would you be? And then there's things like, will they do the nudity that needs to be involved? Are they contracted in a way that they can't make it work for the timing? How do they click with the rest of the cast? Is their salary in the right place? These are things that are so important that so many people, as 50 Shades was going on, and they got so passionate and upset that they thought, oh, you know, they aren't considering this person, they should consider them. And sometimes, you know, you can't assume that they didn't consider that person, but one of those factors I just talked about, salary, availability, will they do the nudity, those things were discussed and they weren't an option. So you can't think, oh, they just ignored us as the fans, because that's not the case. They have to look at so many different factors to make things come together. They also have to look at age range with TV shows. If the character's 34 and you cast somebody who's 40, and then the show's on the air for, you know, if you're lucky, you get a Seinfeld and they're on the air for a decade, then you have a real age discrepancy with the characters. So you have to think about age factors too. But they look at all kinds of things. You know, if the character, it's unfortunate for a lot of stars, but if they become a character like, I have a lot of people bring up Jensen Ackles from Supernatural as Chris, and come on, if you watch Supernatural, Dean is Chris Merritt in so many ways. But when people post pictures and they go, oh, Jensen for Chris, so many people go, but he's Dean. And so it's unfortunate, but a lot of stars kind of get stuck in that character, and that's all that fans can see them as, and it actually hurts them for typecasting. That's why you see some really, really smart actors and savvy, or sometimes it's just that they get lucky that everything falls together, that they're doing multiple roles early in their career as they're doing TV or as they're doing movies, so that they don't get typecast. That has to be a goal that they have. So, as you can see, there's so many things to be considered. Now, let me just say this. I have a lot of people who ask me, do I have any influence on casting? The answer is no, I don't. However, I can tell you that I'm very fortunate to be with producers who are not only as passionate about the project as I am, and as my editor is at Gallery Books, and even my agents, but they want to protect the integrity of the books, which has been incredibly exciting to me, because that's just not always the case. and they're very passionate about the characters. When I talk with them, I mean, they don't just talk about Chris and Sarah and Mark, they talk about Rico, and they talk about all these different characters who, you know, you'll find out as the series goes on, play a really important part in the series. So they're going to really put a lot of tender love and care into casting. And do they pay attention to your casting suggestions? Well, yes, definitely. I know for a fact that there was one particular person that was brought up a lot by fans, and they looked them up, but, you know, will that come of anything? I have no idea. I have no say. It may be nothing more than, you know, a blink and then they're forgotten. I can't promise anything to anyone. But I can say this, speak up, say who you love, and they do listen. And some of you know that they set up an email, rebecca@team-todd.com, and yes, the Rebecca from the books. And some of you ask, when will you hear more? There will be a time when you'll start getting updates, and they're even talking about some VIP casting sessions for fans. So be sure that you've signed up for that. Just put, I want to be an insider, and you will absolutely down the road, and I hope in the very near future, I can't talk much about any of that, be able to be a special part of that. So obviously they're listening to you, they want to connect with you, and that's a special thing. So anyway, so keep an open mind, and remember, hair color can be changed, eye color can be changed, acting and all those other things are what counts. So I'm looking forward to going on this journey with you guys.